Here at the Corvallis Transit Center, but today doing something different. We're going to be getting on a bus here to go south. We are in Springfield, Oregon. We know it's Springfield because we can see Maggie Simpson. Here is the Greyhound station, and we're also at a bus rapid transit station. There's two things I didn't know. First, I didn't know that the Greyhound station was in Springfield and not Eugene. And second, I didn't know there was bus rapid transit. So I'm going to be walking to Eugene, which is I think a couple miles. And I could take the BRT system, but I'm curious what the walk to Eugene is like. Guess I'll find out.
This is the Willamette River between Springfield and Eugene. This looks a lot different than the Willamette River that I'm used to living in Portland and even as far south as Corvallis. It's much narrower, much shallower. It has rocks like this in it. You don't see this in the Willamette in Portland. So it's interesting. And I came in Eugene. I were meant to come to Eugene. I came to Springfield. Springfield and Eugene are adjoining cities, and I'm going to walk past that bridge along this east side of the river to get to Eugene. I came to see the river, and the exact location I came to isn't the most important thing to me. There's a bridge over the Willamette. Right now I'm on another bridge over the Willamette, and in the distance we can see another bridge. And this is interesting to me. I mentioned the Willamette is much narrower here, much shallower, and it's interesting because once you get out of Eugene, there's 4 or 5 bridges over the Willamette in the next 50 river miles or more. But here, because Eugene is a bigger city and also because of the way the river is, we're going to have that one, this one, that one, and many more all in a row.
This trail kind of goes on for a while. Not that I'm complaining. I have a good view of the river.
Today started off overcast, cool, a nice break from the hot weather, and it turned into a hot, humid day. This isn't a side of Oregon people think of, swampy, hot, humid, but that's what it is today, although not unbearably so. And I'm somewhere here along a slough of the Willamette River.
I'm also kind of lost, which is new and different for me because most places in the Willamette Valley outside of Eugene are really familiar to me. Right now, I don't know, I'm like stuck in the middle of a thicket next to a slough of the Willamette River. And this does not look specifically the direction I want to go. This looks kind of the opposite of where I want to go. Here I am back on the main trail, and when I was lost, about 10 minutes ago, I was in the other side of the water there, about 30 or 40 feet away. Here I am at a pond, really a series of ponds, semi-artificial, which is pretty obvious. This isn't totally natural. And this is part of a park complex that I've walked along this riverfront trail from Springfield to here, almost to the center of Eugene, and it's really beautiful and expansive and a great place in a lot of ways. And I'm about to cross that bridge there and go into Eugene.
I'm on another pedestrian bridge, just looking over that lovely Willamette River. I'm at the top of Skinner Butte, There's apparently a train down there, not my train unless it's leaving 2 hours early. So it's interesting to me, I spent most of my life in Oregon. And as you might have seen from these videos, I've been to a lot of places in Willamette Valley. But Eugene, even though it's only 2 hours from Portland, an hour for where I lived as a kid, when I lived near Salem, I've probably spent in my entire life 7 days in Eugene, meaning like 160 hours total, most of it driving through. So it's interesting that someplace so close to me can still be unexplored and be a new place. And it's fun because I'm actually getting lost. You know, I got lost earlier in a very mild way. And now I'm seeing new things. So it's interesting. You know, I've lived in different countries. I've been to 44 U.S. states. And still, I'm an hour from where I lived for years as a child. This is all new to me.
So this is Eugene. Finally made it here. Home of the University of Oregon and other groovy stuff. And I was expecting to be here at 10 o'clock in the morning and to go out from here. Now there's still a lot to see, but I'm pretty tired. So I'm just going to take a short walk around downtown. My bus comes in 2 hours. And I've had a good opening experience today that hopefully I can build on in the future. Eugene is about the size of Salem. In fact, they're tied for being the second largest city in Oregon, depending on how you count it. Eugene is a double city. And a lot of the architecture seems to come from the same era. Looks like we've got like some 70s brutalism or what have you over there. In general, though, I think the vibe is a little bit different. It's a university town, a little bit different than Salem, and you know, being a little bit biased here, a little bit more pleasant. We have these tree-lined streets. So I like being here. Now I wonder why I haven't spent more time here. Oh, right, pandemic. So they call this a streetery. This is about exactly what I expected from Eugene. About exactly. And I haven't been disappointed.
This is the Amtrak Cascades in Eugene. It's terminal point southwards. And I've taken this train before lately, but when I took this train before, it was a bus. So now I'm doing the innovative idea of riding a train that is a train. And I've ridden it a lot as a train in the past, just not since the pandemic. And this train will board at about an hour from now. Not going to go anywhere too far from it for an hour. So this train runs between Eugene and currently Bellingham, but many of the runs are shuttle buses, the Amtrak coach buses, and it's hard to actually find a train that goes all the way from Eugene to Bellingham, but one way or another you'll get there. And this is the first time I'll be able to take it as a train, and I'm looking forward to that. Only takes 40 minutes between here and Albany. I'm riding the Amtrak Cascades back to Albany from Eugene. So this is what an Amtrak Cascades car looks like. Nobody in this one right now. More people will be getting on in Salem to go to Portland and so on. Single level, cafe car, air conditioned, pretty nice in general. A really nice ride. I like it.
So after all these visits to the Albany train station, I finally used it for the purposes of train transport. I'm back in Corvallis. Got up early this morning, left here at 9 a.m. Did a lot of stuff today, but objectively speaking, wasn't really gone that long. Still just the middle of the afternoon, 6 p.m. But boy, I've had a long day and I'm going home. And because of the Delta variant and my concerns about that, even though I'm vaccinated, I'll probably not be taking any long trips for a while after this.